comes around, goes around. Breaking hearts, showing scars, leave me ripped apart. Cold to touch, all too much, but it's never enough. I'm searching inside, but there is nowhere to hide. There's nowhere left to hide. Breaking hearts, showing scars, leave me ripped apart. Cold to touch, not too much, but it's never enough. I'm searching inside, but there is nowhere to hide. Breaking hearts, showing scars, leave me ripped apart. Cold to touch, not too much, but it's never enough. I'm searching. Too much, but it's never enough. I'm searching.
fucking loser.
You live in your mom's basement.
You probably have a 2-inch cock.
You sound like a white guy.
Congratulations.
For what?
You said you got a girlfriend.
You're probably a virgin.
So that's a no for Netflix and chill?
Fuck you.
So I'm curious. Tell me about your show. What do you talk about?
I talk about how women ain't shit.
Oh.
What's up, guys? It's your man, Donovan Sharpe, and welcome to the 441st edition of TSR Live, your daily dose of red pill truth, wisdom, and awareness. It is Tuesday, April 23rd, 2019. As always, we are streaming live to YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. So however you are watching, wherever you're watching, thank you very much for making the Sharpe reality a part of your daily routine. If you want to call or comment on today's show, if you have a question or a comment, the phone number is on your screen. That is 914-205-5356. Again, that's 914-205-5356. That's the number to call if you want to get on the show. If you are outside the U.S., it is 011-914-205-5356. If you want to get on the show, if you block your number, you're not getting on. I mean, if you want to sit on and listen to the show via telephone, that's perfectly fine. But if you block your number, you're just going to sit there on hold. You will never get on the air. That's just all there is to it. Follow, add, and like me on Facebook and Twitter. Just do a quick search for Donovan Sharpe. You'll be sure to find me. I am back on Instagram at Donovan Sharpe 1. Again, that's Donovan Sharpe and the number 1. Or you can just type in Donovan Sharpe and I'll come up. I do not look at the chat anymore. I do look at the super chat, but I do not look at the general chat anymore. I don't commingle with the general population, the gen pop. So if you have something to say, if you have a question or comment, you can either call me, you can super chat, or you can contribute via the Streamlabs link. My Streamlabs link, that is www.streamlabs.com/Donovan Sharpe 1. Again, that is streamlabs.com/Donovan Sharpe and the number 1. Later on in the show, I'm going to give you guys a few of my inside secrets on developing rock-solid text game. I've been getting a lot of questions lately. Donovan, what happens if I get the girl's number? Donovan, I matched up with someone on Tinder, but I keep striking out in terms of text game. She flakes on me. She ghosts on me. I'm going to give you guys a few tips on how to avoid that. I'm also going to jump off the beaten path a little bit, and I'm going to discuss a little bit of religion and explore whether or not there's a God. I'm going to ask a few questions that hopefully will make you guys think. I'm going to explore this from a red pill point of view. But I'm going to start today's show by talking about one of the most recognizable athletes on the planet, and that is one LeBron James, LBJ. Mr. Mink, shout out to Mr. Mink for sending me this article. Sent me an article about LeBron James, and it looks like it's on NikkiSwift.com, and I guess Nikki Swift is a woman. It's very easy to figure out very quickly that Nikki Swift is indeed a female because of the way she writes. The episode, or rather the article, is called Strange Things About LeBron James' Marriage. Now, this is just a basic article about how he and Savannah met. Obviously, this is probably written by a female. I didn't do any research in terms of who Nikki Swift is. Nikki Swift, my guess, is probably a female name. Then again, you can never take that for granted. Nikki Sixx of the Motley Crue was a male, so you never know these days. But I think it's pretty safe to say, just based upon how this article was written, that it was written by a female. So I'm going to go down this article, and I'm just going to point out, again, this is just the true nature of women. Not only that, you will see that women, when talking about the exploits of other women and their romantic endeavors, you will see that they are not only hypergamous, which is fine, but that other women try to cover up for them. They try to appear to be willfully ignorant, and they try to cover up the willful ignorance of other women. So I'm not gonna read the whole article. I'm just gonna highlight a few of these just so that you guys can see what I'm talking about. So it starts out, LeBron James and Savannah Brinson met as students at rival Ohio high schools. James was a senior and basketball team star, while Brinson was a junior who played softball and cheered. After a brief courtship, Brinson became pregnant with their eldest son, LeBron Jr., during her senior year of high school. Now, let me go ahead and stop it right there. She said, after a brief courtship. I love how women characterize unprotected sex with courtship to make it sound so much more regal and fancy. After a brief courtship, as though they are two adults, in downtown Paris. They played a coquettish game of tug of war, and after a brief courtship and a whirlwind romance, she became pregnant with their eldest son, LeBron Jr. Eldest. So who the hell says eldest son? I love it when writers try to make themselves sound smarter than they really are. Fucking cracks me up. Guys, Savannah sucked LeBron's dick. She swallowed his kids. He probably fucked her in the ass. He definitely smacked her in the ass, and he nutted in her. That's how she got pregnant. There was nothing romantic. There was nothing. There was nothing regal about how she became pregnant. I love how the author Nikki Swift tries to make this sound like it was so much more than it was. This is like calling a paperboy a current events engineer, right? What do you do for a living? I'm a current events engineer. So you're a paperboy. What do you do for a living? I am an adult film actress. No, you're a porn star. Even lesser than that, you're a woman who gets paid to fuck other men on camera and distribute it for profit. Right? So again, when they ask you, well, how did you tell me about the conception? Well, after a brief courtship, I became pregnant. Oh, okay. So you pulled her hair, smacked her ass, called her names, and she begged you to nut inside her. Got it. Let's continue. The timing of their unplanned pregnancy, a little further down, the timing of their unplanned pregnancy couldn't have come at a worse time, as James was starting his rookie season with the Cleveland Cavaliers. I was very scared, she said, and I was bawling. Okay, wait a minute. So, LeBron James knocks you up. He is in his rookie season with the Cleveland Cavaliers, which means he's already making millions of dollars, and you're scared, you're crying. Well, listen, I'll give you this, Savannah. This is a half-truth. You cried, but it wasn't fear. The reason you cried is because you hit the jackpot, and you knew it. That's the reason you cried. It continues on. It says, Brinson, let's see here. Brinson has been a constant, devoted fixture in his life. A wedding and 2 more children later, and by the way, guys, her name is Savannah James. But for whatever reason, or not for whatever reason, but Nikki Swift continues to call her Savannah Brinson. She's been married to she's been LeBron's baby mama since he was in high school. This is years and years and years. But she still wants to call her Savannah Brinson as if Savannah Brinson is her own person. No. Savannah Brinson is not her own person. Savannah Brinson ceased to exist when she became pregnant with LeBron James Jr. She is now Savannah James. But again, you can always tell a feminist author by the way they write. I'm surprised she didn't call her Savannah Brinson James. Savannah Brinson. No. Her name is Savannah James. Let's continue. So she says Brinson has been a constant devoted fixture in his life. One wedding and 2 years later, et cetera, et cetera. Now, here's where it really, really gets interesting, right? Again, this is what women like to do. Even though LeBron is responsible for her lifestyle, he pays all the bills, he's a mega superstar, she still doesn't want to use Savannah's proper last name because women like to eliminate men. You got to give male credit where credit is due. But it says, from their home life catering to the self-proclaimed king. Self-proclaimed, guys. Self-proclaimed. Bitch, Savannah's husband is worth almost $500 million. In the James household, he is the king. This shit ain't self-proclaimed. He didn't give himself that title. He fucking earned it. Now, listen, in NBA circles, right, he kind of gave, it was kind of, the moniker King James was kind of given to him, right? So, self-proclaimed King James, okay, whatever. But within the construct of a marital relationship with LeBron, he is the king of the fucking castle. Again, this author refuses to acknowledge the truth. She likes to characterize his moniker as a self-proclamation, as if to say it's invalid somehow because Savannah didn't call him king. I don't know if Savannah calls him king or not, right? Anyway, it continues. Brinson first caught James's eye at a football game during his senior year, and he soon asked if she would attend a basketball game. She said, this is Savannah. She said, I'm like, nope, I'll take his number, Savannah said, recalling their first encounter to the Cleveland magazine. While the rest of their city and the sports world were buzzing about the talented young kid who was predicted to dominate basketball courts one day, James quickly faded from Brinson's mind. One day I'm sitting around, I was probably bored or something, and I'm like, oh, I forgot. I have his number for this guy that I can call. He seems interested, so let's see. Guys, this is what I was talking about when I started talking about this article. The author actually wants us to believe that Savannah Brinson didn't know who King James was. Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot. I've got LeBron James's number, the chosen one, the number one overall pick in the 2003 NBA draft. Oh, I forgot. Bitch, you didn't forget. The fuck out of here. It continues, after attending one of his basketball games, she realized he was kind of a big deal. She goes on to say, I went and I was like, wow, this guy is pretty popular in here. She told Harper's Bazaar, bitch, you already knew who he was. Pardon me. This is that willful ignorance. Savannah James doesn't want to admit, hey, you know what? The reason I like the guy is because I knew he was going to be a freaking zillionaire one day. No. She wants us to believe that, well, she had to go to a basketball game. Oh, I wonder who this guy is. Oh, I forgot his number. Let me go to this random guy's basketball game. Oh, shit. He's kind of a big deal. Later on, I think they went to Outback Steakhouse or something like that, where she called their friend, where she called their conversation basic, right? It goes on to say most girls would quickly write a guy off after a mediocre convo. And by the way, if you're writing for a fucking website, you don't use the word convo. But she's a woman, whatever. Hold her to that standard. So we wonder what made these two lovebirds continue to see each other after their subpar first date. Are you fucking kidding me? You wonder? Let me think. Let me think about what possibly made these two lovebirds continue to see each other after their subpar first date. How about this? Maybe he's the number one overall pick in the NBA draft. Everyone knew that LeBron James was the consensus number one overall pick in the NBA draft before his junior year. Again, guys, I love how females try to claim ignorance on their true nature. We wonder what made these two lovers. Bitch, please. You know, she knows, and we all know. It continues. During her senior year of high school, a flurry of thoughts raced through Brinson's mind once she realized that there was a LeBron Jr. in her tummy. I was thinking, what am I going to tell my parents? What's going to happen to his career? You tell them, hey, mom, hey, dad, we're fucking rich. That's what you tell mom and dad. Hey, that kid LeBron James, who's going to be the number one overall pick in the NBA draft, who's kind of a big deal. Yeah, I've got his kid. I got the golden goose in my belly. Then there's this bullshit. What's going to happen to his career? Oh, that's bullshit. She didn't think that. She didn't think that at all. Guys, dude, LeBron was already in talks with Nike about a shoe deal that would give him generational wealth before he even set foot on an NBA court. You knew what would happen to his career. She didn't think this at all. She just gave some fluff, right? There always has to be two things. I was thinking, what am I going to tell my parents? What's going to happen to his career? Bitch, you don't have anything to do with his career. You ain't the first bitch that he stuck his dick in. Straight up. She didn't, again, guys, she wants us to think, Savannah, she wants us to think that she was so scared and so unsure and all this other stuff. Give me a break. Here's what was really going through her head. How big is my house going to be? How many cars am I going to have? What's the wedding ring going to look like? Right? It was James, it continues, who helped her keep her calm and ease her fears, but the support she received from him didn't stop the people from in her hometown from making disgusting remarks about her intentions. The naysayers were quick to speculate that Brinson had gotten pregnant on purpose to lock down a child with James, who was in his rookie season with the Cleveland Cavaliers. That was clearly not the case, she told the magazine. I had a good group of friends around me, so I didn't let those things get to me. If I did, I would have been running home crying every day. So Savannah might have gotten pregnant on purpose? For real? Guys, listen, man. I'm not hating on Savannah James, man. Don't knock the hustle. Right? Bryn Cameron has 2 baby daddies. Who is Bryn Cameron, you ask? I don't know. But her 2 baby daddies are Matt Leinart and Blake Griffin. Don't knock the hustle, man. Listen, we know how these bitches be. Savannah Brinson, now Savannah James, dude, she knew what was up. She said, oh, yeah. I've seen him eyeballing me. I'm going to play hard to get because I know he's fucking all these other bitches. But I'm going to be the one that plays hard to get. I'm going to be the one that pretends that I don't know who he is so that I can give him the impression that I like him for him. She was smart. Listen, she went after him. She went after LeBron when he didn't know shit. That's what happened. Amber Rose actually does this, right? She tried to fuck around with Donovan Mitchell, got curbed with that one. She only goes after Amber Rose. She only goes after young NBA players because the old heads know the game. They know these, dude, they know these hoes and these thoughts and these whores out here trying to get knocked up with a trap a nigga baby. They know this. So Amber Rose doesn't go after the 8-10-year veterans. Oh, no. She don't go after them. She goes after the rookies, the second-year guys who aren't up on game. LeBron didn't. He didn't know. He didn't have the game. Savannah acted accordingly with hypergamy. It is as simple as that. And when she says this was clearly not the case, that she trapped him with a baby. Oh, for real? That's why you let him raw dog you when you were, 17, 18 years old? She wasn't worried about getting pregnant as a teen? Nah, player. She wanted to. Any other guy, listen, with any other guy she was banging, there would have been concern, but not with LeBron James. Gentlemen, this was by design. Anytime someone defends herself, they're lying. Oh, this was clearly not the case. I became pregnant by LeBron because I loved him. We were in love. Again, she knew who the fuck LeBron James was. Oh, look at this. She doubted his success. As a student at Akron, Ohio's St. Vincent St. Mary's High School, LeBron James' athletic prowess was a coach's dream. He started out playing football before he finally graced the basketball court with his presence. It wasn't long before NBA scouts had their eyes on him, and he was even featured on the cover of Sports Illustrated magazine when he was still a high school student. In other words, most bigwigs in the basketball world were able to easily recognize his potential. Brinson, on the other hand, wasn't so sure. She says, I thought he'd just be a hometown hero for his era, and it would be over. He was just a normal high school senior, she told Harper's Bazaar. Oh my God. Are you serious with this? Are you kidding me? I do it again, man. Dude, listen, here's the thing, dude. She knew who LeBron was, right? You want to know what you want to know what it is? LeBron was getting attention when she was an 8th grader, and LeBron was already a sophomore getting national attention. It's so funny how she acts like she doesn't know who he was. And this author is sitting here covering for her. Again, guys, you got to understand, this is how bitches roll, man. Bitches aren't going to tell you the game. They're not going to put you up on game. They're going to say, look over here, what's happening? And then they're fucking you in the ass on the other side. Savannah Brinson knew exactly who LeBron James was, and she knew exactly what she was doing. And trying to make us think otherwise is insulting our intelligence. You kidding me? She doubted his success? Are you serious? Oh, well, Brinson wasn't so sure. Oh, get the fuck out of here. We're not sure. It continues. We're not exactly sure when she changed her tune. We're guessing it was either when the Cleveland Cavaliers selected him as the #1 overall pick in the 2003 NBA draft, or when he won his first championship in 2012 with the Miami Heat. Still, we're scratching our heads as to the thought that anyone, especially his better half, had doubts about his greatness. Jesus Christ. This is funny. This is funny. In August of 2010, Brinson still said she hadn't put a fire under his ass in terms of demanding that they tie the knot because she didn't want to rush him. We're really comfortable with the way things are right now, she said, and it's not up to me. When it happens, it happens. Of course she wasn't worried. She already had a fucking kid. Ring or not, Savannah James was set for life. Period. Of course she's not worried about it. When it happens, it happens. Well, yeah, number one, yeah, LeBron is the king of your fucking castle, and he's not going to marry you until he's damn good and ready. And number two, you didn't have to marry LeBron to get half a shit. Get out of here with that. So then they go on to talk about how LeBron likes to slide into people's DMs and things of that nature. Talks about how LeBron lives his life under a microscope. Uh-oh. A woman named Rachel Bush put him on blast by taking a screenshot of a suggestive direct message he allegedly sent her that read, "Hey, what's up? Sounds harmless, but let's not forget that this is a married man we're talking about here." Oh, get the fuck out of here. Dude, LeBron has a side piece in every state. Let's not pretend that he's as moral as he is off the basketball court. Dude, LeBron James crushes more pussy than Magic Johnson did in the Showtime days. Get the fuck out of here. And guess what? It continues. That wouldn't be the last time he got caught with his hand in the cookie jar. Next up was a woman named Heidi Hobeck, an Instagram model and avid hunter, who exposed the basketball player for allegedly sliding into her DMs. The alleged message he sent read, quote, "Teach me how to hunt and I'll teach you to play ball. Deal? LOL. Yikes! Guess what, guys? These two girls, these are white girls. LeBron's starting to fuck with white girls. Let's go ahead and, let's see here. All right. Let's go a little further down. Again, they try to give her credit. Talking about how she is an integral part of his success. I actually don't know where it's at. But it says that Savannah is, an integral part of his success. No, Savannah is a baby mama, nothing more. She's not making business decisions. She's not giving him advice on finances. She's not advising him on moves he should make. No woman does. That whole behind every great man is a great woman is bullshit. We don't need women. Do they elevate our lives in certain ways? Of course they do. But we don't need them. This is funny as hell right here. This is funny as shit. It says, let's recap. Not only is he a star in the basketball court, but James is treated like royalty when he is at home with his family too. Don't get us wrong, she says. We get exactly why it's important for his needs to come first at times. We just hope Brinson's not constantly getting the short end of the stick on this marriage. Now, you know what? I would say she's doing all right. It's so funny. The more they get, the more they want. Savannah's set for life. Dude, she lives the life of a top 1%er. And this bitch is in here talking about we're hoping she doesn't get the short end of the stick. This is the problem with females, man. The more they get, the more they want. She's married to LeBron. She had his kid, case closed. Now, let's go back to where she says, we get exactly why it's important for his needs to come first at times. You see that nugget of truth? You see, LeBron is treated like royalty when he's at home. And we get why his needs come first. Oh, yeah, no fucking shit. He's a fucking breadwinner. He is the king of his castle. So his needs always come first, and Savannah clearly understands that. Listen, good for Savannah. She locked down an alpha male. She's set for life generationally. Her kids are taken care of. Yeah, you're goddamn right she's going to rub his feet. Goddamn right she's going to suck his dick. You're goddamn right she's going to watch the kids when LeBron is tired. One last inconsequential thing here. This next section called an expensive and useless gift. For her 30th birthday, he surprised Brinson by purchasing a pricey Ferrari. What a night, and what makes me happy more than anything is putting a smile on your face, LeBron said. Took me a long time to find your masterpiece, but I wouldn't stop until I did, and now I can't wait to watch it cruise off into the sunset on PCH. Happy birthday, Queen, or happy B-Day, Queen, the athlete wrote in a Facebook post. There was just one problem with his gift, the article continues. Though Brinson was thrilled at the set of her new wheels, she told Essence magazine, "It will be even more awesome when I can drive it. I cannot drive a manual. I'll learn to drive it by this spring. It'll be on and popping in my new Ferrari." Savannah handled that the right way. But a lot of times when dudes out here buying these bitches these expensive gifts, "Hey, honey, I made you breakfast." "Oh, I already ate. I'm so sorry." "Hey, babe, we're going to the beach." "Ooh, I get suntan easily. I can't go." Right? This bitch, LeBron James, bought this woman a Ferrari. Credit to Savannah for handling it properly. But she said an expensive and useless gift. Guys, this is how bitches think, man. A Ferrari, expensive and useless. Unbelievable. Guys, again, man, this just goes to show, really, like I was talking about before, this is the true nature of women. The more you give them, the more they want. Women are always going to be hypergamous. Women are always going to go after the alpha males. I do not understand. Actually, you know what? I'll back up. I do understand why females don't readily admit it. Rollo Tomasi calls it open hypergamy. I understand, right? Women don't want to be called gold diggers. They don't want to be called, they don't want to be called, well, you're after him for his money. Look, I don't give a shit. I'm not going to, listen, I'm not going to shame Savannah James for going after LeBron when he was young. Look, she knew the game. He didn't. She's being rewarded for it. The problem I have is that she tries to insult our intelligence by implying that she didn't know I didn't know who LeBron was. I wasn't really sure about his career. Oh my God, what am I going to tell my family? And what's going to happen to his career? Oh my goodness. No, at the end of the day, Savannah James does what every female in this country would like to do. She consolidated on the highest value man available to her, and fortunately for her, he wasn't old enough to realize what his value was, and he ended up wifing her up. Listen, I'm sure they have a great relationship. I'm sure they do. But if LeBron James thinks for 1 second, that Savannah James loves him for who he is and not what he is, he's got another thing coming. Because if LeBron were to go broke all of a sudden, that's not likely to happen. But guess what? If LeBron goes broke, Savannah is out. Now listen, LeBron James is he is an apex alpha male in terms of his, he's a good looking guy, he makes a lot of money, he's athletic, et cetera, et cetera. Savannah is not going to do any better than him. Even if there's another LeBron James, right? Like somebody of higher value. No, she's good. She's good. Savannah James is good. But LeBron James needs to understand that his wife loves him for what he is and not who he is. Lucky for him, his wealth isn't going to run out anytime soon, provided he keeps making savvy financial decisions. Coming up next, I'm going to give you the secret to executing rock-solid, airtight game, which will drastically reduce flaking and ghosting. Don't go anywhere, guys. We'll be right back. I saw a posting on Facebook by a woman. I guess she goes by Shalana Hokage Jackson. It's actually posted a couple days ago, so I guess I'm a little late to the party. But it's a picture of a black man who also happens to be a Navy sailor. And the caption on this particular posting says, quote, Navy sailor Curtis Adams was just killed in San Diego. He got out of his car to help a stranded motorist, and the motorist opened fire on him. I don't see this in the media, so rest in peace, sailor, R.I.P. sailor. Now, what immediately grabbed my attention was, of course, the fact that a black man was shot and killed, presumably unarmed. But something inside me told me to dig a little deeper, not because of what was said, but because of what wasn't said. So I dug a little deeper, and I found some things out, which I'm going to share with you guys right now. So my response to the video, or not to the video, to the posting was, quote, the shooter was Brandon Acuna. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but the shooter was Brandon Acuna, a Hispanic man with a long criminal record who was trying to steal the car. Yes, I continued, it is a tragedy that Curtis Adams was shot and killed, but the way the original poster characterized this post insinuates that he was killed by a racist man who opened fire on Adams because he was black. The comment, quote, I don't see this in the media, implies that the media did not report this because Adams was black and the shooter was white, as if they intentionally covered up the story to protect the white man from public persecution. I will say it again, this is a tragedy. But when people leave out details on stories like this, it makes and keeps the black community angry for the wrong reasons. Next time the original poster, or the OP as I put it, should either tell the whole story or include a link so that people will be privy to all of the details, rather than an obvious intentional mischaracterization of the events. the original poster knew what she was doing with this post. Of course, I was met with all sorts of pushback. Jocelyn Williams says, how did you get that out of this post? I didn't read where she mentioned a white shooter. Let me go read it again. My response was, she didn't have to mention a white shooter. All she had to do was leave out the race of the shooter and the circumstances. The fact that the soldier was black, I continued, automatically causes most people to assume that the shooter was white. That is how I got that out of this post. You don't have to spell out your intentions for them to be obvious. Didn't hear from her again. Sharon Green responded, sir, you are the only person who mentioned race. I think your guilt is your ignorance and issues. Be blessed. It's funny. I love how these angry black women always like to say be blessed at the end, as though they are somehow at peace with the world, and they're not angry with what you said. They're not angry in general. These are bastions of sage wisdom that they are trying to impart upon me. You are a racist fuck, Donovan Sharpe. Your guilt and ignorance and issues. Please be blessed, because I'm not angry. This reeks of a Iyanla Vanzant, how she tries to come off as this peaceful sage who is holier than thou and is not burdened by the weight of the anger on her shoulders. So anyway, I responded to her. I said, yes, I did, because I saw the OP's intentions. The race of the shooter does matter, especially when we are talking about the shooting of a black man. And you know it. Then I added, for good measure, good try though. Then Caroline Padovano says, all you had to do was read the article to find out the details instead of just reacting to the headline. This is exactly what I was talking about. I said, I did not react to the headline. I did what people should do and look up the story. But as we both know, I continued, most people are too lazy to just Google the story and they react to the headline. This kind of bullshit is exactly how the media keeps us angry for the wrong reasons. And then not 10 minutes after I posted this, Amanda Nunez or somebody posted in response to this, and I'm quoting, it says, so per my post the other day, referencing always trying to help. I don't ever mean on the side of the road. I'll post for the battle in ignorance, though I believe in magic. I'm well aware that my melanin is considered a weapon that must be shot down. Then she continues, do not help white strangers on the side of the road, especially as a black man alone. This is so sad and so infuriating. Do not, I repeat, do not get out of your car to help unacquainted white folks. Sorry, not sorry. Guys, this is exactly what I'm talking about. This is exactly what I was referring to when I referred to this post. The original poster, whatever her name was, Sharon, let me go back to it here really quickly. The original poster, Shalana Hokage Jackson, okay? And you guys, listen, man, I don't give a shit what you guys say. You guys can say, well, that's not what she really meant. No, fuck that and fuck you guys. When black people post things like this and leave out details that would otherwise, how can I put this? When we as people, when we as African Americans, when we post stuff like this and we leave out details that would otherwise fail to stoke the racist flames that we have here in America, this is how we and the liberal media keeps us angry. All we will Welcome back to the 441st edition of TSR Live. Had a slight production snafu there. Be sure to subscribe to my weekly newsletter to stay in the know on all things Donovan Sharpe. If I lose my channel, I'm not going to stop broadcasting, right? And I know there are probably some people, who hate on me in the chat. Oh, the Donovan this, Donovan that. Listen, man, if I lose my channel again, I don't give a shit. I've got 18 channels, different channels I can use. Number one, I have 2 other platforms I can use that are not public. I'm not going to stop broadcasting. I can stream right to my website. YouTube it's a great service. I use YouTube to get the word out and build a following. But listen, all good things must come to an end. YouTube's not going to let me do this forever, at least not on this level. But either way, that's not going to stop that's not going to stop me. The train is staying on the tracks. But If you are not on my email list, you won't know where to find me. So, guys, hit my website and get on that email list as soon as possible. Again, I'm not going to blow up your inbox. I'll shoot you an email when it's important. I'm not one of these guys who's going to bug you every day. If you like what you hear, if you get something out of my show and my content you want to contribute, you can do that through my Streamlabs link, www.streamlabs.com/Donovan Sharpe1, www.streamlabs.com/Donovan Sharpe, and the number 1. I'm actually putting the link in the chat right now. Shout out to HS Lee 169 with the $5 contribution. I appreciate that. Big thanks to Freelance Running with the $5 super chat. He says, quote, calling her by her maiden name is that feminazi writer's way of sideways disrespect and attempt to cheapen LeBron's sexual market value. It's sad. Yeah. Listen, man, Savannah James is married to LeBron James. She belongs to LeBron. She is his wife. And to call a female by her maiden name, that's, again, I agree with you, Freelance. That isn't sideways disrespect, man. That is outright disrespect. This is what we're up against. Big thanks to Charles Caballero with the $1.99 super chat. Says, give them an inch, they'll take a mile. That's exactly right. That is exactly right. Good to have you guys in today on a Tuesday. I took yesterday off to get caught up on a few things. I have no idea why there's such a big lip syncing lag. I restarted my computer, did all the tech support stuff, but for whatever reason, I don't know. Maybe it's that I've got a lot going on here. Maybe it's Blog Talk Radio. I'm gonna have to figure it out. Maybe increase my RAM or something. But either way, I don't think it's too big a deal. I think it'll be fine, one way or the other. All right, let's get to the next topic. I'm going to talk about something that just about everybody has trouble with. Every man has issues with in terms of, at some point in their pussy plundering conquest, and that's text game, right? Gentlemen, if you think sluts are hard to talk to in person, they're almost impossible to talk to via text. And that's the reason why this is the reason why they're in a perpetual state of ADD, which, in Donovanese, that is abundant dick disorder. Sluts are so inundated with offers that it seems to take clownish behavior and parlor tricks and gimmicks to keep their attention. And if you mess up one time, the jig is up. She ghosts on you. This is how it works. Now, it's important to understand, guys, that slutty women ghost for many reasons. And you also have to understand that a lot of those reasons have nothing to do with you, right? Listen, sometimes it's just not in the cards and there was nothing you could do about it in the first place. This is just how it is. You could run airtight, air-free game and still get ghosted or still get flaked on. This is part of the gig. This is just how it works. Get used to it. Failure is part of the game. If you can't get used to failure, this is not for you. But if you want to stay in there and you want to decrease the flaking, decrease the ghosting, there are certain rules that you need to follow when texting sluts specifically after you get her number. I also want you to keep in mind that texting with sluts is a little bit different than texting back and forth with fuck buddies and friends with benefits, things of that nature. It is very different from texting girlfriends and wives. I think that goes without saying. Now, a lot of guys who are awakened while married, as Rollo Tomasi likes to put it, while in a long-term relationship, they understand that they definitely need to conduct themselves differently if they want to change the behavior of their girlfriends and wives. But treating your girlfriends and wives like fuck friends and sluts, that's not the answer. A lot of guys think, get your wife in line, treat her like a slut. No, it doesn't work that way. Don't be meathead red pill guy, right? Listen, trying to arrange a threesome with your wife or girlfriend, right, or overusing asshole game, that's stupid. I've said that so many times before, man. Men in relationships go too far when they first get red pilled. Kind of like people who find religion after they experience a tragedy or a hardship, right? They go to church for a few weeks and all of a sudden they're on fire for God and they're insufferable and all they talk about is Jesus and I should join the church. That might actually be a good topic. Anyway, to be clear, the only time you should treat your wife like a slut is when you're fucking her. That's it. But for now, I'm going to tell you guys how to text sluts to increase the odds of success and decrease the odds of being flaked or ghosted on. Now, when it comes to texting with sluts, there are hundreds of strategies out there. There are a bunch of techniques, a bunch of books, and there's just as many rules in terms of the do's and don'ts, right? But like dieting and exercise, if done consistently, they yield good results. That's really the bottom line. But because I never discuss what I don't have experience with, I'm going to give you guys the 6 rules I used when texting sluts. Again, we're not talking about text game with your wife or girlfriend. Yes, some of these rules could be applied at different times depending on the situation. But these 6 rules need to be applied and adhered to consistently see results. They need to be followed consistently to see results. I also want you to keep in mind that this is text game before you've met her, before you fucked her. Because after you fuck her, the only time you'll text is for logical reasons. Sluts are pieces of meat we use for sex, nothing more. After we get what we want, we only text or call to set up the next fuckfest. That's it. So let's go ahead and get to it here. Number 1, be cocky, then be confident. I mentioned this before. One thing guys do on the regular is over-gaming women. They overuse asshole game. They basically use meathead logic. All of this, gentlemen, that's a facade. Guys who overgame women, they're compensating for the fact that they have no game. Listen, being cocky works with all sluts. Even when they try to give you the impression that it's not working, this means that it is most definitely working. Well, they try to shoot down cockiness because they know it's the cheat code. Well, the key to, they say, I don't have my girl voice anymore. They say that, well, the key to getting with guys is not being an asshole. No, you know that this is the truth. You just know it's the cheat code, right? The cheat code with me is big tits and high heels, right? So if you had big tits and high heels back in the day, that would bypass a lot of my red pill common sense. They know their panties get wet around cocky assholes, having fucked them by the truckload. It is equally important, gentlemen, to know when to turn the jerk boy asshole game off. So use cockiness to reel her in, then use confidence to seal the deal. Then end it with a dash more of cockiness. Again, use the cockiness to reel her in, use confidence to seal the deal. Guys are afraid to be cocky because they don't want to scare her off. But they say they don't want to be cocky because it comes off as being a douchebag, right? All that means is that they're just afraid to lose the girl. But that means he's got a scarcity mindset, and that's all there is to it. I actually had a guy call into the Brother Pill a while back. I can't even remember when this was. It's probably November, December. And he called in, and he was talking about this girl. He says, well, what if the girl thinks you're too forward? Gentlemen, that is a man who is afraid of being aggressive and going for it with a girl. He then asks, well, what if that comes off as thirsty? I told him he's making excuses. He's afraid to be bold and straightforward with women, so he's characterizing it as coming off thirsty, coming off as a douchebag. Understand this, guys. There is a huge difference between thirst and aggressive assertiveness, or even assertive aggressiveness. Both require desire, which comes naturally. But thirsty dudes compliment girls on their looks. Men with game do not. We'll get to the rest of what they do here with number 2. Never, ever text back right away. So speaking of thirst, if we want to bring up thirst, texting back right away, guys, it screams thirst. It also tells the girl that you don't have anything else going on in your life, and it also says to her that you're probably the only girl you're talking to, which means you're not pre-selected or social proofed. Guys, girls are hive-minded creatures. And for those of you who aren't familiar with what that means, it means that they're never sure about anything unless it's signed off by the rest of the female species or the hive, right? She might think you're the hottest guy she's ever seen, but if she doesn't see her friend staring you down or trying to flirt with you when she brings you around, she's going to start to question her judgment a little bit. Women know that their individual judgment is flawed, so they rely on the hive to let them know if their choices are sound, let them know if they've made a good decision. And this goes for everything. This goes for their clothes, their careers, their choice in men, their cars, doesn't matter. If you text a woman back right away, she knows you are not pre-selected, which gravely compromises her attraction to you. My general rule of thumb, Donovan Sharpe's general rule of thumb, when it comes to texting back, is to wait at least twice the time she waited to respond to her. So for example, let's say you text her at 3:44 and she responds at 3:50. So she waited for 6 minutes. Well, 6 minutes after 3:50 is 3:56. 12 minutes, which is double the amount of time, that's 4:02. She waited 6, you wait at least 12. If you text her at 4:30 and she responds at 5:30, you wait at least until 7:30 to text back. Number 3, change the subject often. A lot of guys get caught up talking about a singular topic just to keep the conversation going. And what ends up happening is that the conversation stagnates, right? It becomes boring to her. Now, listen, it might not be boring to you, right? Listen, you're happy to be texting a 22-year-old smoke show, right? She's got a great ass, huge tits. You're just happy to be texting her. But because girls have that ADD, that abundant dick disorder, you got to keep it up. You got to change it up to keep it fresh. Make sure she's not bored. So, for example, let's just say you guys are talking about places that you go for fun. So you guys are texting back and forth. So, what do you do for fun? I like to, of course, girls always give the regular, the boilerplate answers. I like to go hiking. I've never seen a girl hike before. They always say, I like to go hiking and running and this, whatever, right? Then you tell her, I like to ride go-karts. I like to mountain climb. Me and my buddies, we like to go mountain biking on the weekends. I like to go to Flyers games, et cetera, et cetera. And she says, oh, that sounds like fun. A friend of mine actually just went to a game the other night. Then you change the subject. Right after she says that, are you a natural blonde? Right? And she'll say, yeah, no, why? I get bored easily. Then she'll say something to the effect, well, I like to change it up sometimes. Now she's qualifying herself to you. You asked her if she was a natural blonde. You didn't say whether or not you liked or disliked natural blondes. Right? Doing this keeps her on her toes and keeps her interested. Give me 2 seconds. I'm going to kill the camera here. I need to turn off my PC. There we are. I'm using Devin's laptop to as my display here, but for whatever reason in the middle of the show it always seems to go out. So it looks like I need another PC, another laptop. Anyway, doing this keeps her on her toes and it keeps her interested. If you are predictable, gentlemen, she will lose interest. Changing the subject gives the aura of unpredictability, and girls love unpredictable. They don't like predictable. They love unpredictable. This is how it goes. Number 4, this is a big one. Never answer questions directly. Now, this goes to that unpredictability factor, right? If a slut asks you how old you are, say, old enough to drink. Then immediately ask her how old she is. If she asks you what you do for a living, tell her that I'm a cocaine dealer. By the way, is being a cocaine dealer, is that a deal breaker? Now, in her mind, she's thinking, wait a minute, was he joking? Was he not joking? And if he's not joking, how much money does he have? Right? You again, never answer. Listen, answering questions directly not only puts her in control, which I'll talk about here in a second, but it also puts you into compliance mode. If she asks you a question and you answer it directly, it says to her that she can get a straight answer out of you anytime she wants. But if you mix it up, or they're like, I just used those 2 examples, it makes you unpredictable, makes you not agreeable. Guess what? Those things are fun. Which leads me to number 5. My number 5 tip, be the interviewer and not the interviewee. Guys, we've all been interviewed for jobs. And the way it usually goes is that the interview asks you questions about your experience, your work ethic, where you've been, what you've done, so on and so forth. But guess what? The interviewer is in control because the interviewer is asking the questions. He's directing the conversation. Obviously, this is a good thing in this context because you want the conversation to pertain to potentially working for that company. You want to get hired, right? But when texting with sluts, too many guys let her direct and control the conversation. Now, this might seem small, but if a girl knows that she can control you during a conversation, she'll know that she can control you in person. That's a turnoff, guys. Sluts don't fuck guys they think they can control because it doesn't turn them on. And by allowing her to ask all of the questions, you are showing her that you can be controlled. Well, the solution to this example, the solution to this is actually quite simple. When she asks you questions, use number 4, indirectly give an answer, and then ask one back. There, control gained, right? And then she's answering the questions, and you're asking. So, for example, if she asks you, so how long have you lived in Philly? Respond with, way too long. Wait. Respond with way too long, period. You're not the kind of girl who looks at herself in every reflective surface, do you? Right? You indirectly answer. You didn't say, well, I've lived here for 5 years. No. How long have you lived in Philly? Way too long. Hard left turn. You're not the kind of girl who looks at herself in every reflective surface, are you? Again, you keep her on her toes. Number 6. Actually, I've got 7. Number 6. Make her qualify herself. Okay? This means when we say make her qualify herself to you, this means make her prove herself to you. Girls correctly assume that we want to fuck them. So what they do is they kind of put us through our paces to see if the sexual attraction is mutual. But here's the thing, guys. You need to make her earn your attention. And the way you do this is to make her qualify herself to you. Ask her things like, are you the kind of girl who spends too much money on her shoes? Or my favorite, one I just gave, are you a natural blonde? The idea behind this is to give her the impression that your sexual attention, it's not a foregone conclusion. She needs to understand that she doesn't just get to swipe right for cock. No, sweetheart. You've still got some work to do. And if I get the idea that you're the same as every other slut out there, I'm going to keep looking. That's the impression you need to give these girls. Women only value what they are required to work for. And if you are giving her your sexual attention for nothing, for next to nothing, she's not going to value it. This is why girls end up flaking and ghosting on you. You keep giving them your guaranteed sexual attention and validation. Make her work for it. Make her qualify it. Make her qualify herself. Number 7. Always leave her wanting more. I think this is actually something that comedians like to say. But a huge mistake that just about every guy makes is getting wrapped up in a text conversation that's turned sexual, right? You guys are talking about fucking. You're talking about how she's going to suck your dick, how you're going to squeeze your tits. You're talking about you're talking about how the sex you're going to have is going to be mind-blowing, and you're probably going to be, at this point, you're probably exchanging dick pics and pussy pics and all kinds of stuff, right? But guys, being as thirsty as they are, okay? Thirsty guys don't quit until the conversation has been beaten into the ground. Most guys aren't disciplined enough to disengage at the height of the conversation. Well, why the hell would you do that, Donovan? Don't you want the girl to be hot for you? Yes, I do. But by disengaging at the peak of the time when things get hot and heavy, you leave her wanting more. If you just stop texting, if you stop texting all of a sudden when her pussy just got wet, guys, she'll be checking her phone every 5 seconds for the next hour. Then she'll check her phone as soon as she wakes up, thinking maybe he texted me. She might even check her phone in the middle of the night. Try and flick the bean on the toilet. Right? Guess what, guys? You are on her mind. If you beat the conversation into the ground rather than leaving her wanting more, you run the risk of giving her too many endorphin and dopamine hits, at which point she might not see the point of hooking up with you anymore, right? But by walking away from a conversation that's hot and heavy, you are creating that mystery, you're creating that anticipation that makes women far less likely to flake on or ghost on you. This is how this works. Later on today, I'm going to be releasing exclusive content on Patreon. The first video I'm going to release is part 2 of my girlfriend training series. Part 1, which I released yesterday, talked about the elements that need to be in place on your end before you start training a female. And part 2 is going to give you the specifics on how to train your woman properly once you have decided that she is a possible candidate for a possible relationship. I'm also going to release a video from the archives that gives you a list of the most common shit tests that women deploy. And then I will release another video tomorrow on how to pass those particular shit tests. So listen, a lot of great content coming your way, coming my patrons' way. And it's less than 17 cents today on Patreon, guys. So go to patreon.com/Donovan Sharpe to get your hands on actionable, real-world solutions. A lot of guys talk about the problems. I also give the solutions. Let me get my, I'm going to put my Patreon link in here. There it is. Again, that's patreon.com/Donovan Sharpe. Patreon.com/Donovan Sharpe. Big thanks goes out to Terrence Forrest Jr. with the $5 super chat. He says, always appreciate your perspective on sports from a red pill perspective. Appreciate that. RX Godly Says in the process of digesting the red pill, Donovan is a genius, man. Listen, I appreciate the words, man. I really, really do. I'm no genius. There's nothing special about me. The reason I have this knowledge is because I've fallen on my face many, many, many times when it comes to women. But I listen. I appreciate the kind words, guys. I really do. I really do. Quabena with the $5 super chat says, how would you respond if she asks what you want to do in the future? This one is easy, and I'll actually give you a bonus answer. So when she asks you, well, what do you want to do in the future? I'm assuming, Quabena, that what do you want to do in the future with her, right? You try to be a little bit more specific. But yeah, if you're on a date with a girl and she says, listen, what do you want to do in the future? I don't know. Right? Like, listen, tell her, well, I don't know. Obviously, I want to be successful, right? I want to be able to write my own ticket. I want to be able to live the life I want to live. But right now, hey, I kind of live life by the seat of my pants. Now, in your brain, you've got a plan. But if you start telling her what your plans are to be successful, you're leading with your wallet, right? So let's say that Devin and I weren't together and I'm out on a date with a girl. So, Donovan, what are your plans for the future? I'm not going to say, well, I've got this podcast and I make a shitload of money doing it and I hope to build my brand to set myself for life. Oh, no. Listen, that's not the right answer. I'm just going to be like, you know what? I don't know, but I'll know when I get there. Here's the bonus answer. A lot of women like to ask, so what are you looking for in a woman? You know what? I don't really know, but I'll know her when I see her. Quabena, you have to understand that I'm not, and again, I'm not looking, I don't look at the chat, the general chat. I only look at the super chat. So if you want me to further expound on that answer, give me a call. 914-205-5356. Again, that is 914-205-5356. That's the number to call. Speaking of which, let's go to the phone lines. Area code 813. You're on Live with Donovan. Go ahead.
Hey, Donovan. How you doing? From down here in Tampa, Florida.
Doing good, man. How you doing?
Hey, pretty good. Listen, I am pretty new to the whole red pill thing. I'm 53 years old. I've been married for 16 years. And I took some of your all's advice. I've read all three of Rollo Tomasi's books. I subscribe to the Red Man group and listen to you and Rollo. I also took some advice. I can't remember which one of you guys it was that threw out the advice to read the book on body language, What Everybody is Saying, from the guy from the FBI. I forget his name off the top of my head.
Yeah, I know which one you're talking about. The name escapes me, but yeah.
Well, that book, this is kind of the basis for my question. I hope I'm not totally off topic because I've been working and then
no, that's cool,
I saw
man.
that you were on Twitter and I thought I'd give you a call because I really wanted to hear your perspective on this.
Let me stop you right.
Each one of you has your own kind of.
Right. Let me stop you right there, 813. And for everyone else, if you want to call in about something off topic, I got no problem with that. If I'm talking about oranges and you want to call and talk about apples, no problem at all. You don't have to call with a relevant topic. If you want to call about something completely off topic, I got no problem with that. So no need to apologize, man. You got it.
All right, cool. And I think your listeners will appreciate this question because it is kind of right in the realm of trying to be the leader of your family and trying to be the center of your wife's focus as you try to make yourself this your own mental point of origin.
Right.
But what I've noticed, I have this one particular friend who is he's very comparable to me. I mean, looks, social status, wealth, etc. I try to have male friends that are upbuilding and positive people. And what I've noticed after reading the book, What Everybody is Saying, I noticed that my wife's limbic system, her subconscious, subverbal communication is very keyed up on this guy. Okay?
Wow.
So I haven't said a word, okay, to either one of them. But I wanted to ask you if you noticed that your woman was getting animated and laughing really loud at one of your friends, whatever he said, just the most mundane thing.
Sure.
Or continually works we were on the boat and I noticed that she was just kind of orbiting him a little bit more than than any of the girls that were on the boat.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I just am picking up on these things. What is the right thing to do?
Yeah, this is real. I'm
The
gonna
right response.
Yeah, listen. I'll actually answer both questions. So your first answer is have I noticed that Devin has ever been keyed up around any of my friends? The answer is no, because I never bring Devin around any of my friends. The only time Devin's ever been around people males that I know were at the 21 convention. That's it. There is no sort of commingling. There are no conversations. I mean, there's nothing like that. However, when we went on vacation back in 2016, this is when we had first started dating. I think I'd been dating her for right around 6 months at one point in time. There were two incidences where she drew attention to herself in the presence of a man. The first one was our tour guide when we went up Mount Mauna Kea. So the guy, he's taking us up the mountain in this tour bus, and he asks everybody. It was a tour bus, and he asks, "Hey, is everybody having fun? And here in Hawaii?" And Devin goes, "Woo!" Right now, the tour bus driver, tall, rugged guy, 6'4", looked like a mountain man. He, obviously he's the alpha of the group. He knows the island. He's driving the bus. I looked at her. I said, "Rein that shit in." And she said, "Yes, sir," and said not another word. The next incident happened when we were at breakfast the next morning. So we're sitting right on the beach. It was a beautiful scene. She's sitting in front of me. She's sitting right in front of me. All of a sudden, she starts to get loud and animated with her hands. Caller, instantly I knew something in me told me this is my red pill awareness. I turned around and there was a guy basically looked like Thor, right? And so I told her, I said, yeah. And so I told her, I said, okay, look, I said, if you want the guy's number, if you want to fuck that guy, at least try not to hit on him in front of me. I said, I can go get the guy's room key right now. If you want to go fuck him right now, that's perfectly fine. But try to have a little bit of respect and don't hit on him right when I'm here. At least wait until I go to the bathroom. Dude, she turned a brilliant shade of magenta,
Right.
Didn't do anything like that. The solution here for you is this. Do not bring your wife around that friend. That's all there is to it. What you have to understand, man, is that you're going to have to, when you have this kind of knowledge, you're going to have to sever ties with a lot of people in a lot of different ways. This doesn't necessarily mean that you have to sever ties with him, or sever ties with him completely. Just make sure that she's not around when he's around, because it's obvious that your wife is sexually attracted to this guy. You can tell her, listen, she's orbiting the guy, she's laughing at her limbic system is screaming all the bells. The solution is simple. Do not bring her around him. Do not bring him around her. That's it.
Okay. And then my thought was, I'm just going to put on more muscle and money.
Yep.
And that's what I'm going to do, because I know I can control myself, and I wasn't sure, if it was the right thing to do to react to something that is below the conscience mind.
Yes.
Like, I'm not 100% sure that she's faithful. No one is.
Sure.
And everybody's capable of anything under the right circumstances. So yeah, that's, and what's funny is, I think I have instinctively done just what your advice was.
Right.
So,
good
to know, not eliminate, but have minimized, canceled one set of plans that we had.
Good.
And haven't made any future stuff. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would also,
Donovan, I'll let you get to some other things.
Yeah. Listen, real quick. I would also keep an eye on her social media. I'm sure your wife is on social media. Listen, man, if she's, for all you know, there might be something going on right now. Like a lot of guys will contact me, Donovan, like my wife is acting kind of funny around my friend. I'll talk to him a month later. Dude, she's been fucking him for 18 months, right? So make sure, I'm not trying to put the seeds of doubt into your mind. Actually, yes, I am. Listen, monitor her Facebook, monitor her phone. You really need to pay close attention. One more question before I let you go here, caller. What is his sexual market value in compared to you? Is he taller than you? Is he more muscular than you? Like what? Like you versus him? What's the tail of the tape?
I would say I'm an inch taller.
Okay.
So, and he's actually been putting on a little bit of weight. I've been losing. I think for 50, wherever I go, people go, shit, you're 53? What?
Right.
If I walk down the beach, I can strike up a conversation with a 25-year-old, no problem. But here's the thing. My wife is the hottest 48-year-old woman you
There
have
you
ever
go.
laid your eyes
There
on.
you go. Yep.
She has an ass that makes 16-year-old cheerleaders jealous. It doesn't even make sense how nice her ass is. It doesn't. I mean, her skin. I mean, everything. It's weird how she has just stayed hot all these fucking years. You know, we've been together for a long time. We've been married 16. We've been together 18, I think.
Right. Oh, wow.
And I mean, it's a good thing. I'm happy, and I'm not complaining.
Sure. Sure.
But as a matter of fact, it's kept me on my toes, which I'm glad. It's a healthy, thing. But I don't want to feel like I'm competing with her.
No, listen.
I want her to organically desire me. You know, that's the one thing too. You know.
Okay. All right. I understand what you're saying. You want her to organically desire you, so organically put on more muscle and organically stack cash.
Yep.
And listen, you've been with her for
you go.
16 years or 53 years old. You understand that your wife is going to be sexually attracted to other men. This is something you can't control.
I know.
Right. This is something you can't control. But
I don't blame her.
Right. Of course not.
Yeah,
but
we'll go somewhere and like you said, 23-year-old dude with abs. You know, what are you gonna do?
Of course.
That's just
right.
built to the hilt. Yeah.
Right. Nothing you can do. But in terms of what you can do, in terms of you taking action, yeah, you can't control what she does, but you can control what you do. And what you will do is you will remove her from situations that are conducive to infidelity. I would start limiting, I would cut off all time between your friend and your wife. That's the only thing there is to it. Make sure they never see each other. Keep an eye on her Facebook and social media. Make sure there's nothing going on behind the scenes.
All right, man. I appreciate it.
No problem, bud. Take care.
Will do.
All right. Yeah. Again, this is just how this is, right? I mean, I'm under no false illusion that Devin is not sexually attracted to other men. There might be a guy at work that she's sexually attracted to. There might be a guy that she sees at the gas station she might want to fuck. Guess what? I see girls I want to fuck all the time, right? But what you have to do, and you cannot react in situations like that. You can't say your limbic system is on autopilot around this certain guy. Oh, no. She's going to be like, what? Like, I'm not orbiting him. I don't want him. Even if she realizes that she's doing it, she's not going to admit that to you, right? This is why you cannot react. Just act. Okay, you let her have her fun while you and the friend are there. All right, that's cool. But what you do is you eliminate any and all possibilities of foul behavior. Get her out of that situation. As a man, again, women are programmed to self-destruct. They cannot be left to their own devices. That's all there is to it. So it is on you as a man to make sure that you don't knowingly put her in these situations. This is your only option. This is your only option. When we come back, I'm going to go off the beaten path here, and I'm going to have a discussion with myself, obviously, about the existence of God from a red pill perspective. You don't want to miss this. We'll be right back.
Gun, got him looking for you. Now the stove on and it's cooking for you. Crab the clown, a new crown. Made a fake change melt down. Poured a molten on his brains. Scratch me out another lane. See, I'm that young bastard with the royal blood. Finna live up to his name. All my exes insane. Aiming arrows at my brain. Missing caught me in the shoulder. See, I was born to die a soldier. Bought a toast and I call it ghost rounds. Husky Siberian. I ain't finna let them sun me, man, looking down on me like I'm Tyrion. This the battle with the bastards. Lexicon swords wrapped up. The law claw blade master. Can't nobody swing it faster. Delirium still beats mastered. This dragon glass stash your ass up. Rap white walkers, I'ma have to thrash ya. Take up what I'm after. Set me up for that throne. Kings land in my home. Ain't tryna catch me by myself, but you can't catch a lobby alone. Got my nice watch, even be in the right spot. Try to reach over my wall. That's higher and nice to your dome. Set me up for that throne. Kings land in my home. They tryna catch me by myself, but you can't catch a lobby alone. Got my nice watch, put me in the right spot. Try to reach over my wall. That's fire and ice to your dome. Set me up for that throne. Kings land in my home. They tryna catch me by myself, but you can't catch that lobby alone. Got my night spot. over my wall. Hardcore listen, slice juggler, a dark incision to the little finger nigga, such a harsh depiction, but a smart decision to start the mission. My art provisions bring foresight with stark precision. Talking Raven with the 3 eyes. Let me let you know now that she dies, then he dies. Thought you was a hero, no you ain't a king, you was in disguise. Who are these guys? Usurp the throne, take it from the true king, wait till he rise. Gains prominence, self-confidence, some accomplishments to his dominance. All kind of shit had to happen back then, now I'm out of it. Blessed living in the present, that's common sense. Any male that's a man know what time it is. Haters wanna see me fall like Tom and did. Backstab, red wedding kind of shit. Faceless men can't acknowledge them. The Lord more ghoulies, abolish them. Got me a black one, but I prefer chrome. Scale you a gray, eat your flesh to the bone. I know you can't get Sam Farley on the phone. Set me up for that throne. King's land in my home. They tryna catch me by myself, but you can't catch a lobby alone. Got my nice watch, but be in the right spot. Try to reach over my wall. That's why you're nice to your dome. Set me up for that throne. King's land in my home. They tryna catch me by myself, but you can't catch that lobby alone. Got my nice watch, but be in the right spot. Try to reach over my wall. That's why you're nice to your dome. Set me up for that throne. King's land in my home. They tryna catch me by myself, but you can't catch that lobby alone. Got my nice watch, put me in the right spot. Try to reach over my wall. That's why you're nice to your dome. Set me up for that throne. King's land in my home. They tryna catch me by myself, but you can't catch that lobby alone. Got my nice watch, put me in the right spot. Try to reach over my wall. That's why you're nice to your dome. Set me up for that throne. King's land in my home. They tryna catch me by myself, but you can't catch that lobby alone. Got my nice watch, put me in the right spot. Try to reach over my wall. Play the Game of Thrones, get the win or you die. The ring of the throne, that's the harder you try. We all got a phone that we after. Reach higher, run faster, doors open, more close up. We'll die down, we'll fold up. We'll die down, we'll fold up. Living this life blessed cause he chose us.
Welcome back to TSR Live, your daily dose of red pill truth, wisdom, and awareness. Good to have you guys in on a Tuesday. Send me your show ideas, guys. Let me know what your questions are. Let me know what your show requests are, what you want me to talk about, things of that nature. If you come across an article, a blog post, a video, something you saw on social media, anything and everything red pill related, send them all to TSR at donovansharpe.com. Again, that's TSR at donovansharpe.com. You guys drive the bus here. You guys drive the bus here. I'm going to talk about something here, and I've got another guest. I've actually got Wizard Prang, who's going to join us, resident. I forgot what we decided to call him. I forgot what his nickname was going to be. I think it was like Resident TSR Savant, Svengali. I forgot what it was that I forgot what it was that he wanted me to call him. But he's going to be joining me to talk about an article that he wrote a little bit later on. He's actually supposed to be joining me here in about 10 minutes. But looks like I'm going to run over a little bit on time, but we should be good to go. I don't think he minds holding for a little bit here. Throughout human history, gentlemen, there have been a plethora of polarizing debates, from benign arguments like vodka versus whiskey, split routines versus the compound lifts, to the ultra critical like pro-life versus pro-choice, and of course, most recently Hillary versus Trump. There's never been a shortage of issues that split even the tightest knit group into opposing factions. Well, one of the most divisive topics of all time is religion, more specifically, the very existence of God. Now, before I get started here, guys, I'll go ahead and let everyone know that I have nowhere near the theological knowledge or have the cerebral brawn about this stuff than guys like Quintus Curtius, right? He used to write for Return of Kings. Dude, this guy's brilliance in the field of theology, philosophy has no equal, right? If you're looking for a deep ecumenical analysis of religions the world over, you're not going to find it here, guys. I'm not that smart. That's just not how it is. Instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to examine the existence of God from an everyday man's point of view. Now, this will be a simple, logical look into what we've been told about various religions, namely Christianity, our entire lives. And what I'll do is I'll just ask a few straightforward, pointed questions regarding the events of the past in terms of their validity and plausibility. When men find the red pill, guys, everything is called into question, right? Money, fitness, everything in between. It's all scrutinized, more closely. 9 times out of 10, we make significant changes in most, if not all of those areas. Well, personally for me, religion also falls into this category. And at this point in my red pill life, my religious beliefs, as they apply to my newfound knowledge about the way the world really works, I'm kind of in the dark. I'm kind of in limbo right now. So let's start off and talk about the basics of religion. Now, I've actually had this conversation with Devin before. This actually came from her mouth. But I remember we had a conversation about what religion really is. And we discussed that the basics of most religious groups are all pretty much the same, right? Exercising some sort of self-discipline by not indulging in, life's many vices, treating others with decency, and regularly executing some sort of ritual at a specific day and or time. Yes, there are many more religions. There are many more layers to religion. But by and large, those seem to be the building blocks, right? Exercise temperance, exercise patience, be nice to other people. That's just be a decent human being. The truth is, guys, is that human beings, it is the human condition to have an inherent need to belong. No matter what the person, no matter the upbringing or the environment, we all want to be a part of something. Without human interaction, we go insane. Even people who describe themselves as loners, even those guys have a circle of friends. Albeit very small, they still have a small circle of friends that they can confide in. Again, from young men who join gangs to post-swall sluts, to people who join cults, religion in this context is a way for people to fulfill their basic need for routine, their basic need for temperance, for structure, and their basic need to belong to something. Think about this. Think about this, guys. The worst possible thing that can happen to a man in prison, other than being raped, is being put in the hole, right? Solitary confinement. He's surrounded by murderers and rapists, but being put in the hole for a month, that is a terrible fate because he's left by himself for an extended period of time. Religion represents going back to the general population for most people, if you guys follow me. And again, listen, sports, hobbies, even all those evil misogynistic websites that brainwash men into thinking women are demons from the seventh circle of hell, they're all just, well, of course I'm talking about the red pill, but they're all described on some level as religion. People say all the time, well, I do XYZ religiously. I work out religiously, or I like to crochet religiously, when they describe something they're doing on the regular. Regardless of what we call it, anything we do or believe consistently could be kind of loosely described as religion. Now let's talk about Christianity. Gentlemen, for my money, Christianity seems to be the branch of religion that has probably soured the most people on the very existence of God, right? And listen, I'll be the first to point out that I could be way off on this assessment, and that my upbringing in the Baptist church and being an American obviously drastically skews my point of view. But I'm fairly certain that I'm not the only person who feels this way. I mean, I could probably do a 3-part series on how Christians have royally fucked things up for people who could really benefit from religion. But instead, I'm just going to talk about some of the major factors involved with making Christianity and its followers, pretty unbearable. The first thing I'll point out is dollars and cents. Follow the money, right? Anyone who grew up in the church, we all remember the collection plate being passed from row to row by ushers, right? We remember person after person putting in cash, checks, envelopes as the plate kind of made its way around the congregation. Well, it wasn't long before we asked our parents what it was for, and of course they dutifully explained to us that the church is supported by its members' contributions, and that's why they pass the collection plate around every Sunday. Things could not be more different here in 2019, guys. The mega churches popping up every month, they don't look like churches anymore. Inside and outside, they sort of resemble something of a cross between a warehouse, a nightclub, and a mall. Churches like these cost money and lots of it. Dude, with the jumbotrons, the flat screen TVs, all the state-of-the-art tech, these places really kind of seem more intent on entertainment than the teachings of Christianity, right? And they also reek of social justice warrior tendencies, what with their no judgment here or their non-denominational marketing, right? They've got these marketing campaigns that are non-denominationals, all are welcome. All they're doing there is really casting a net as wide as possible to ensure that they get as many members as they possibly can. Yes, gentlemen, there's no doubt about it. Churches do need support from its congregation, and yes, they have to get the word out somehow. Nobody's disputing that. But when you're bombarded with billboards, flyers, and even television commercials, then see the pastor driving a fucking 6-figure vehicle, living in a 7-figure home, it becomes crystal clear that Christianity is really more of an industry than a religion. And that's what rubs people the wrong way. You guys ever heard this before? God has a plan. Right? God has a plan for you. If it's God's will, it will happen. Or here's my personal favorite. The Lord works in mysterious ways. Now that I am red pill aware, I've kind of figured out that Christians and, its purveyors, pastors, preachers, etc., they use this rhetoric to explain away terrible or unfavorable events, right? Now, one could say that people need to believe that there's a higher power out there that makes things happen. But again, the common sense and the red pill in me knows that if I show up to an interview for a job in casual clothes, I'm probably not getting that job. The red pill mindset that I have knows that if I'm drunk off my ass and I get behind the wheel and wrap my car around a telephone pole, or worse, kill somebody, that has nothing to do with God's will, because that's my responsibility and mine alone. When something bad happens, you ask yourself, is God testing me, or did I just make a bad decision? Back in the day, one thing I noticed about a lot of atheists, a lot of them seemed to have in common was anger, right? They were angry with God. They were angry that God had allowed their loved ones to die. They were angry at God that he had allowed their husband to be stricken by cancer, or that God allowed bad things to happen to him. A lot of them, and I think a lot of atheists who are upset with God, and again, I don't have any percentages on this, but my guess is that a lot of them were probably Christians at one point or another, right? My guess is that they had that during their hard times, their Christian friends reached out to them to try to console them, and good for them for doing so, right? Listen, whether you're a Christian or not, you want to reach out to your friends and loved ones when they're going through a tough time. I get it, right? Where they go wrong is when they use the God's will to explain like untimely deaths of their loved ones. Guys, it's only a matter of time before someone going through that kind of turmoil enters the anger phase. And because the people around them told them that God had indirectly caused their pain, they check out. Now, the counter argument here is, of course, just because a person is angry and decides they don't believe in God doesn't necessarily mean there isn't a God. I used to say this all the time when yelling at atheists on television. Just because you don't believe it doesn't mean it's not true. The bottom line, guys, is that every person has control of their own life. I'm not saying this means there is a God. I'm not saying it means there isn't. What I am saying is that if a person is successful, it's mainly because of their own efforts and own know-how. If a person is or ever was homeless, it's largely because of a series of bad decisions. Guys, I've written about my own series of bad decisions that led me to quasi-homelessness. Red Pill Origins Volume 2 with Amy, right? I had nobody to blame but myself. Not God, not anyone, myself. When a man looks at his own life through the red pill spectacle, through the red pill lens, right? The plan that God has a plan or it's God's will, those arguments kind of sound like hamstering, right? Like, think about it. Like, when someone tells you that a good or bad event happened in your life or someone else's life, right? When they tell you that that has much more to do with the actions and desires of someone or something other than your own, that is, to me, that's eerily similar to a female blaming her bad decisions on, her bad decision making on the 14 tequila shots she did the night before. Now, to me, there are a plethora of other issues that gives Christianity a bad name worldwide. But from the